Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Happy Thursday, everybody. Regular viewers know that the poor southwestern province of Guizhou is the poster child for local government debt distress and local fiscal mismanagement. The province is in the news again as a controversy erupted this week after a state-run newspaper published a report late Sunday saying that a Ms. Ma, a construction contractor, spent years waging legal battles against officials in Shuicheng, a district of Guizhou province, only for local authorities to take her and her lawyers into custody late last year for alleged disrupting of public order. Shuicheng is part of Liupanshui, one of the most infamous cases in the country for surging debt and fiscal mismanagement. The former Liupanshui party secretary Li Zaiyong is now in jail for borrowing massive amounts of money to use on wasteful spending, even by the standards of the time. We covered Li's story back in January. Between 2013 and 2017, Li borrowed more than 150 billion yuan to finance 23 large-scale tourism projects. Almost all turned out to be failures. The debt amounted to be more than 10% of the city's GDP in 2017, and this is in one of China's poorest regions. The article from Sunday stated that Ms. Ma had been demanding payment for 8 years of construction work on 10 government projects, including relocation projects for poverty alleviation work, kindergartens and primary schools. News of this contractor's arrest sparked an uproar online. US-based Wall Street Journal, reporting on the news, writes that private entrepreneurs, lawyers and state news outlets alike have weighed in, quote, airing suspicions that district officials were trying to use criminal proceedings to fend off debtors and alleviate financial pressures, end quote. Top Guizhou officials on Tuesday, so this is at the provincial level rather than the municipal level, convened a conference on promoting private sector development where the provincial governor demanded efforts to comprehensively clean up the arrears owed to companies and reduce costs for private enterprises. On Wednesday, the Guizhou government said it formed an investigation team to review Ms. Ma's case and promised to, quote, hold sternly accountable any behavior that infringes upon the legitimate interests of private enterprises, end quote. China Business Journal, which published the original story on Sunday, saw a report disappeared from its website and WeChat account. It's unclear whether the Chinese publication took the story down under pressure or whether it was just censored. The Wall Street Journal reports that the journalist who wrote the initial report went on social media to defend his reporting and post screenshots of documents that he said backed up his claims, though the post has also disappeared. Fortunately, now several other Chinese outlets, including state-run The Paper, have carried the story. Quote, on Monday I joked that arresting people the government owes money to is one way to deal with local government debt issues. All joking aside, Guizhou is in a dire financial situation, and Liupanshui specifically has massive issues. The mess Li left cannot be cleaned up by selling off assets, many of which are worthless, and many which the government overpaid for because so much of the money was stolen through corruption, end quote. Next up, yesterday Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning announced during a press briefing that this weekend China's so-called Special Representative on Eurasian Affairs, also known as Beijing's Ukraine war envoy, Li Hui, will visit Russia, the EU headquarters, Poland, Ukraine, Germany and France, quote, for the second round of shuttle diplomacy on seeking a political settlement of the Ukraine crisis, end quote. It's unlikely that this will see much in terms of progress, but we note the development here. This week also, China's Vice Foreign Minister, upon invitation, held consultations with Russia's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs on China-Russia relations, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO, and Asia-Pacific affairs between China and Russia in Moscow. He also met with Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Sun, the Vice Foreign Minister, said that, quote, under the strategic guidance of President Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin, the China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination for a New Era has enjoyed sound, stable and in-depth development, and bilateral relations are at their best in history, End quote. The Russian relationship appears to still be close and strong, publicly at least. This week, UK-based The Financial Times published an article called "Leaked Russian Military Files Reveal Criteria for Nuclear Strike." The piece, citing leaked military files, claims, quote, "Although the files date back 10 years and more, experts claim they remain relevant to current Russian military doctrine. The defensive plans expose deeply held suspicions of China among Moscow's security elite, even as Putin began forging an alliance with Beijing, which as early as 2001 included a nuclear no-first strike agreement. In the years since, Russia and China have deepened their partnership. Yet even as the countries become closer, the training materials show Russia's Eastern Military District was rehearsing multiple scenarios depicting a Chinese invasion." End quote. The piece observes that while Moscow has drawn close to Beijing since the war games and moved forces from the east to Ukraine, it has continued to build up its eastern defences. William Elbeke, Director of Strategy, Technology and Arms Control at the UK-based International Institute for Strategic Studies, expressed to the outlet, quote, "Russia is continuing to reinforce and exercise its nuclear-capable missiles in the Far East near its border with China. A lot of these systems only have the range to strike China." End quote. Next up, spying concerns. If you're enjoying today's episode of China Update, don't forget to hit the like button. Liking, sharing, and subscribing all helps for the channel. And for anyone who can go that extra mile and help me keep China Update financially sustainable, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. This is a lot of work, but all your support are all incredible sources of motivation. So thank you so much, everybody, for the ongoing support. Next up, and finally for today, yesterday, Mike Burgess, Director General of the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, speaking to an audience at their Canberra headquarters, made his annual threat assessment, and the comments on China have raised eyebrows. He spoke of a particular team in a particular foreign intelligence service. Now, based on the context of the overall speech, he is obviously referring to the People's Republic of China, but refuses to refer to the country by name. The comments give a useful overview of how some of Beijing's targeting in English-speaking countries works. Quote, "Right now, there is a particular team in a particular foreign intelligence service with a particular focus on Australia. We are its primary target. Many of the people here tonight are almost certainly high-value targets. The team is aggressive and experienced. Its tradecraft is good, but not good enough. ASIO and our partners have been able to map out its activities and identify its members. We call them the A-Team, the Australia team." He went on to explain that the spies pose as consultants, headhunters, local government officials, academics, and think tank researchers, claiming to be from fictional companies such as Data 31. Most commonly, he said, they offer their targets consulting opportunities, promising to pay thousands of dollars for reports on Australian trade, politics, economics, foreign policy, defence and security. Then he made a shocking disclosure. Quote, "Several years ago, the A-Team successfully cultivated and recruited a former Australian politician. This politician sold out his country, party and former colleagues to advance the interests of the foreign regime. At one point, the former politician even proposed bringing a Prime Minister's family member into the spy's orbit. Fortunately, the plot did not go ahead, but other schemes did." End quote. He explains that, in one of them, leading Australian academics and political figures were invited to a conference in an overseas country, with the organisers covering all expenses, including airfares. When the attendees arrived at the conference, they were met by individuals claiming to be bureaucrats. Quote, "In reality, they were spies in disguise, members of the A-Team." End quote. They used the conference to build relationships with the Australians and aggressively target them for recruitment, he said, openly asking who had access to government documents. A few weeks after the conference wrapped up, one of the academics started giving the A-Team information about Australia's national security and defence priorities. Quote, "Another Australian, an aspiring politician, provided insights into the functional dynamics of his party, analysis of a recent election and the names of up-and-comers, presumably so that the A-Team could target them too. ASIO disrupted the scheme and confronted the Australians involved. While some were unwitting, others knew they were working for a foreign intelligence service. We helped the unaware ones extract themselves and severed the links between the others and the Foreign Intelligence Service. Several individuals should be grateful the espionage and foreign interference laws are not retrospective." End quote. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much everybody for watching. Have a good Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow.